What's one US state you probably won't ever go to? Why? Mississippi. Lack of well-paying jobs, inadequate education, high poverty rates, and poor health and social services. Top reasons why is in the brackets, and in a recent study, which examined the 50 states across 52 indicators of quality of life, found Mississippi continues to rank as the worst state in which to live. The Absaroka Range runs from Livingston Mount down to the Wine River Range. On the east side of Yellowstone, get a quarter-mile off the road and you'll barely see anyone. They rival int for beauty and jaw-dropping beauty. Must be comfortable with grizzlies. They aren't a joke, just have to use a little common sense. Stay away from any dead carcasses, make noise, and stay out of berries in the fall. Delaware. Anything against the state, but a while back my identity was stolen. My address and phone number were changed to a residence in Delaware, and the ID thieves spent a few years trying to steal my money. I have never been there, never even flown over the state to the best of my knowledge. That I have no intention of ever going to Delaware. It is a tie for me. Hawaii or Alaska. I only go Conus and only drive. I only go out of my village for shopping, out of my state for weddings of my wife's relatives. Those count as our vacations, so I can stay home otherwise. I'm retired, 32 years US military, and drove a semi for a while. I have no desire to see more. Having lived in shit ton of places moving for work, I don't ever want to go back to California or Texas. Both places have this terrible fuck you, we're better attitude that is unbearable. Plenty of super nice lifelong friends were made in both. San Francisco people are way worse than those in NYC. Texas. Overhyped bullshit of a state. Nothing but land no one should ever go to. Humidity and hubris. I'm not saying it's bad, just that somehow the residents think their pile of mediocrity is better than other states. Fuck that stupid place. It's mediocre at best, and I won't go on principle. I'm anxious about states where everybody carries multiple guns with them at all times, and places that won't be nice to folks from the Northeast. Much of the country is very iffy these days. For reference, hello, we're from the Northeast. Nebraska. Their state's slogan, Nebraska, honestly, is not for everyone was gold, because accurate. Also Iowa. I forgot it existed until after I chose Nebraska, so I guess it's a tie. Has anyone in the history of the US ever said my dream is to one day visit Iowa? Probably not. Delaware. No offense to Delawareans, but as a non-American, it's the one state I hear nothing about and know nothing about, except I know there's a Delaware River. Out of interest to those who live there, what are some notable things? History, geography, local legends, food, etc. California, the culture, and just everything about the state is almost entirely the polar opposite of my personal values on basically everything ever. Plus, earthquakes and high crime. No thanks. Cully can become its own country at this point as far as I'm concerned. I've been to 38. So most of the stereotypical bad ones, ND, WV, OL, MS I'm definitely going to at some point. However, I can say with confidence that I will never voluntarily return to the state of Florida. Absolutely fuck that state and everything about it. I want to visit every state eventually, but I'm having a hard time thinking of a reason I would go to North Dakota beyond crossing it off the list. I've already been to a lot of the northern border states like Minnesota and Montana. I can tell you without a doubt, Arkansas is like being on another planet. I've been to Iraq, but in Arkansas they will stare at you like you're from another planet. That place is people of Walmart.com written all over it. Most TBH. I've only been to 4 states so far. There are several I'd be interested in visiting, but most the South isn't included. And I don't care about most the flyover stated, even though that's where I live, lol. Right now, unfortunately, Arizona, because of its draconian anti-women healthcare law, boycott Arizona and the Grand Canyon until they allow women to have full autonomy over their own bodies and healthcare decisions. Based entirely on what I've read about them over the past few years. Probably Idaho or Texas. They look like lovely places, but a good majority of the population and their leaders seem to be living in the 1950s. I've been to Oklahoma a few times because I was traveling through. Nothing but bad vibes every time. Every time I see some draconian bull going on. It's in Oklahoma. Gonna do my best to never go there again. I'd say Hawaii. It's extremely expensive, and also natives on the island claim it's very disrespectful to the people living there if you move there and you're not native. I never really looked into it though. I've been to 49. So right now it's Alaska. I planned a 2-month driving trip from Florida to Alaska and back when COVID hit, and I had to cancel it. I'll probably get it done next year. Nebraska. Boring AF. Not much to offer. Never met any great people from there, and everyone I've spoke to that's lived there complains and says it's a horrible state to live in or visit. This whole country has gone to shit. I can't think of a state I really want to go to. Except maybe Alaska, but probably will never go because I'm dirt poor and stuck in West Virginia. I've visited 35-50 states so far, but as mixed black and Indian, I would avoid Arkansas, Alabama, and Mississippi. I've heard it's not that friendly and not looking to experience that. I expected to see Mississippi a lot and wasn't disappointed. TBH, I'm glad because along the coast of it is one of my favorite getaway spots, and I want it to stay quiet and cheap. I had my chance to go to Arkansas, just couldn't think of a good reason to cross the bridge. Beyond that is Oklahoma, another place I can't think of a good reason to see. My bucket list is to get to all 50, current count 32, or 30 for if you count airport layovers. One I'll never return to is Florida. Main reason is that I hate hot weather. I hate New York City with a passion, more than anything else on this earth, for a multitude of reasons. I'll die before I go back there. Anywhere else in NY. May okay. LOL, I love how Mississippi and Alabama are the first two states that came to mind and the first two states I saw commented. Some backwoods bumpkins out there. I tried to stay out of Texas because I don't want a dime of my money. Somehow supporting one of the most wicked states we have as far as caring for people goes. Arkansas. I don't know of a single tourist attraction there that Texas doesn't have a better version of. Sorry to anyone from there, I'm sure I'm just unaware. I will probably only ever visit 3 states, if that in my entire life. New York, California, and Florida, which I've already been to on holiday at Disney World. Hawaii. Probably just because it's so far away. That being said, I thought I'd never make it to Alaska either. But then I did an Alaska cruise, so who knows? Any of those dumb fuck racist Jesus freak states where people don't believe in science and deny evolution. Places where people believe prayers cure cancer. I collect postcards from friends who are away on trips. I suspect that Arkansas will be the toughest one to get. No one goes to Arkansas for anything. I'm from Mississippi. But I'll never go back unless there's a good reason. If I ever have the money, I'll still buy land there for sentimental values. South Carolina, ignorance at its finest. Terrible education, no care for women's rights, and stuck in a tourist-driven 1980s mentality. Still haven't made it to Wisconsin. I'm concerned that I will suffer the same as Russell Ziske and get the ST kicked out of me there. Most of them because flying is expensive and it's scary. Specifically, probably some easily forgettable state like Wyoming or Delaware. Alaska, too far away, too cold, too much snow. Daylight only exists for a few months, and when it does it's 24/7. Same with the dark. None. I'm hoping to run a marathon in all 50 states. Currently at 7. Including Alaska, and should get to 10 by the end of the year. North Dakota, a bitterly cold place with a small population and nothing to do, is a place I'll never even contemplate going to. Dare I say Utah is full of creepy people who are fodder for true crime TV shows. Yeah, no, never going to Zuta. I've driven from MA to TX 3 times. Every time I refuse to even stop for gas in Mississippi. The vibe is off there, man. I refuse to pay sales tax in either Dakota. There should only be one Dakota. It's fucking ridiculous. So I won't humor them. I'm super liberal and not quiet about it. And agnostic. I'll have to avoid a number of states if I want to live to old age. I plan to visit all 50. But for the life of me, I couldn't see myself spending a lot of time in either Texas or California. Alaska. It seems cold and wild. Logically, I know this isn't true. But it's still very low on my list of places to see. North Dakota. I cannot think of any reason in the world I would want to go there or any reason I would need to go there. I've visited or lived in 43 and plan on hitting the other 7 eventually. There are great places to visit in all of them. Florida and Texas. Open racism and guns is a bad mix. Yes. I have visited before, but things have changed since 2016. Most of them because I'm Canadian and don't really care about being in a country that glorifies guns and politics. Jacksonville, Florida. I don't have enough time to write why is that bad, sorry to those that live there. Rhode Island. Fuck that tiny little state. Good for nothing state that claims to be an island but really isn't. Alaska. I'd love to go. I just can't see myself taking the trek when, for the same effort, I could go to Europe. Anywhere in the South. Just the mentality of the people there is light years different than the way I think.